Blog Talk Radio.
There's a mystery lurking the forested areas of the world. Many have seen something, but what is it? Are they seeing known animals? They claim they walk upright, like a human. There are so many eyewitnesses. Can they all be wrong? Is someone just playing a trick on people? Or is it possible a large bipedal being could exist in the forests of the world? You have a decision to make. Do you believe it exists? These are the topics we discuss on Sasquatch Watch Radio. Alrighty, welcome everyone to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is July 30th, 2013 already. And before we get on with the show, let me go ahead and invite the co-host in here, Mr. Bruce Harrington. How are you doing tonight, Bruce?
How you doing, Billy?
Doing good. Can you hear me loud and clear on this new system?
I can.
Good. That means it's working. I guess that's a plus.
It is a plus.
I know a lot of times I get complaints that I seem to be breaking up, so maybe this system will work better.
Well, we can only hope, Billy.
That we can do. So I understand we have a pretty interesting guest tonight, Bruce.
We do have a guest. I'm going to try and get him on here. But his name is Fred Saluga. He's a researcher from the Pennsylvania area. And he's a pretty interesting fellow. He's got some pretty interesting theories, most of which I disagree with. But, we'll let the listeners decide. So, Fred, are you there?
I'm here.
How do you like that intro, Fred?
Sitting down waiting for you to talk, I can hear you both loud and clear.
Believe me, Fred, he'll bust your chops all night.
Oh, who didn't know that?
So
it's
Fred,
all part of the show, Billy.
I know, I understand. So Fred, I noticed that you got to open up the new Sasquatch Watch out there in West Virginia.
Yeah, we got. Only thing I need now is the website, and I'm gonna start sending out letters to all the police departments, all libraries, all TV stations, and try to get some people to join in so we can do some investigations.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I saw that you had everything up on the Facebook page. Right. Mountain State Sasquatch Watch of West Virginia. I'm glad everything's up and going there.
Well, we're trying. It takes a while, let me tell you. It takes a while.
It does. It takes a lot of organization, and this is such a new set of news that even Bruce Harrington don't know about it.
Well, who didn't know that? I mean, Bruce knows everything, don't he?
Fred, it was great having you. It was great having you at the Creature Weekend campout. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got bit like hell too, you know.
Yeah, I know. I got
still scratching.
I got all tore up myself.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and hopefully you had a lot of fun. You had a previous engagement, so I'm really glad that you could actually, pencil us into your busy schedule.
Yeah, well, I try.
Now, Fred, you are. So first of all, let me just say congratulations. I hear you're teaching a course on cryptozoology.
Right, Brian Seach and I is going to be teaching that in the fall.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, we'll be teaching. It's going to be a 6-week course on cryptozoology. It'll be an hour and a half to 2 hours every night. The college went along with it 100%. So we're working out the details for it right now. And
wow.
we also have a newspaper article here in West Virginia called the Creature Chronicles, which we put something in every week, and then we're trying to get people from West Virginia right now and Pennsylvania and Ohio to send in stuff and ask questions and that. And we're also giving a lot of presentations on creatures of the Ohio Valley and UFOs.
Cool. It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, did you get permission from Ron Schaffner to use the name of his newsletter, Creature Chronicles?
No.
All right, well, expect that letter from his attorney in the mail.
Well, they got my address. I mean, it's right on a thing here, so they can send it right to me. His is Creature Chronicles. Mine is the Creature Chronicles.
Oh, okay. There you go.
See, already ahead of him.
See, he already had that. He already had it planned out.
Right.
Now, you do a lot of work with the PBS. Is that right? Or you used to?
Yeah, I still do work with them.
Yeah. Now, how did you get involved with Sasquatch? Now I know that your background. You're a retired police officer.
Well, I'm not a retired police officer. I was a police officer.
All
okay,
right.
back in the day. Let me real quick here.
All right.
When I was a cop. This was back in the 70s. Before I never believed in none of this. I never believed in UFOs, Bigfoot, or anything like that. And one night it was wintertime, and me and my partner was out working, and we got a burglary call in progress. So we're starting to go down here, and it was like 10:30. We both had something to do at 11:30. So he started complaining this and that. We go to the house, and make a long story short, we go to this house. All the Italian women, she told us it's upstairs, whatever it was upstairs. We go up there, and it was an empty room. So we come back down, and we're talking to her, and all of a sudden we heard people dancing up there and this and that and this and that. And we said, what happened? She said, they're ghosts. So we went up there, and there was nothing up there. Okay, so we come back down. She said she wants us to take the ghost out of her house. Well, they never taught me that in the police academy, so I know how to do that. So, we told her we'd be back, but then the house burned down a couple of weeks later. But anyhow, also, when I was a child, I can remember actually being about 7 or 8 years old. I was from Fayette County, and you heard, Fayette County had a bunch of flaps down there with Bigfoot and UFOs and that. And I can remember my grandparents talking about it. I actually heard screams in the woods. I mean, at the time, I don't know. But I remember specifically one guy, his name was Pete Burrell. He come running out of the woods one day and saying some big hairy thing was chasing him through the woods. Well, that was part on my mind. And then when I did this, my partner said, you're not going to put in there that there was a ghost in this house. I said, yeah. So about a week later, I'm riding in a police car, and I get a call. It was like, 52 to 29. And I go ahead. And they said, what time are you getting off tonight? I said, well, about 11. Well, we got a Bigfoot sighting. Would you come up and investigate it? So I started getting everything over the whole area there, which really was interesting. I wish I knew then what I know now. So
which is?
That's how I got into it. Huh?
Which is what?
Well, I'm more into Bigfoot and UFOs than I was then. I mean, to me, I was just looking at it like one day we seen a 3-toe print. I mean, I'm looking at it like, what the hell is this? I didn't know. there was nothing back in the 70s.
Well, Fred, let's not gloss over the fact that this woman asked you to get the ghost out of her house, and then her house burns down. I mean, there are easier ways to get ghosts out of a house, Fred. You don't have to burn their house down.
That's true. Her chimney caught on fire. I guess he was trying to get out the chimney. I was trying to chase him,
So, have you ever had a sighting yourself, Fred?
No. And since the 70s, I mean, I've been out a lot of times. I mean, it's same with UFOs. I must have done about 1,000 investigations. Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida. I've never had a real sighting.
So, if you've never had a real sighting, what keeps you, why are you so passionate about this area of cryptozoology?
Well, I want to find out what it is. We was talking about this today. Being an ex-police officer, I mean, my whole life since I was like 19, I've been involved in investigations of some sort. And, Bigfoot's out there, okay? But we have no idea what he is, all right? I mean, is he really a flesh and blood animal? Is he extraterrestrial, as I like to tell you?
Here we go.
I'm just saying.
I knew it was going to be long.
Is he interdimensional?
Interdimensional?
Yeah.
Fred, let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Do you really believe Bigfoot? There's a possibility that Bigfoot could be an interdimensional human being or a creature.
Yes, I do.
All right. So explain the science behind that for me.
Okay. Show me. Okay. Just you show me an animal, okay, that can vanish. Show me a flesh and blood animal that can vanish. Okay.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean vanish? You mean
vanish?
Just like elude you?
Stand there 1 minute and it's not there the next.
Well,
okay, just vanish.
Animals are just naturally gifted at being able to conceal themselves as part of their survival mechanism. That doesn't mean that
Bruce, you're going to tell me that you're looking at a bear. You're looking at a bear, and the bear is just going to vanish?
I don't know what you mean by vanish. And where have you seen a Bigfoot vanish?
I haven't seen a Bigfoot vanish, but I've read a lot of information from college professors and people that study it that say this happens.
All right, so Fred, here's the thing, right?
Okay, go ahead.
I think the problem that you and I are running into is that instead of just reporting your observations, you're drawing a conclusion. So maybe people observed a Bigfoot there 1 minute and then they were gone the next. But okay. you're going one step further and saying, okay, he's warping into another dimension, which
No, I'm not. This is your take on it.
No, you just said they're interdimensional.
Yeah, I'm saying they're dimensional. Say, for example, now you have, how can Bigfoot start, say a football field. He starts walking on a 10-yard line in the snow, okay? He gets to the 10-yard line on the other end of the field, and this footprint stops. So did somebody put him down there to walk the 10-yard line to the other 10-yard and then pick him up? What happened to him?
Well, maybe the ground.
What happened to him? Huh?
Maybe the ground isn't conducive at that other 10-yard line for an impression. Maybe it's hard soil. But there are many explanations.
What's your explanation for that, Bruce?
Maybe he's going for first down. I don't know.
So you don't know, but you're saying it can't happen. So
what I'm saying is that there's a difference between making an observation and then drawing a conclusion from that observation. So, maybe you can observe something there 1 minute and something there the next, not there the next minute. Or you can observe that, hey, here's a consistent trail of, tracks up until this point. All right? That's your observation. But
right. Okay,
to say that, all right, well, the reason for that is because Bigfoot's warping into another dimension. I think is probably going beyond, overstepping, the bounds of reason.
Well, see, I don't. I mean, see, your mind is fixed that you believe Bigfoot is flesh and blood. You probably don't even believe in UFOs. I mean, do you believe in UFOs?
I absolutely. UFOs are unidentified flying objects. I absolutely believe in unidentified flying objects. Do I believe that they're little green men from Mars? I don't know.
Nobody's ever said they're little green men from Mars, to my knowledge.
I'm
little gray men, maybe, but not green.
I believe that there are things that are flying around that are unidentified. I mean, I believe in them. Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible that Bigfoot's one of them?
Bigfoot's one of what? An extraterrestrial?
Yeah.
All right. I gotta say this because this is gonna sound like a strange question. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But Flycatch in the chat room wants me to ask you, Fred, if the planet Earth could be a prison planet for Bigfoot.
It could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. It could be. I mean, I think in this, when you're looking at three things, ghosts, UFOs, and Bigfoot, you got to keep an open mind. We don't know what they are. Okay, we don't know.
Billy, well, I have a clean record. I don't know why I would be on a prison planet with Bigfoot and.
You'd be surprised.
I don't know, but
one of them likes you, Bruce.
If too many come along, you might have a shortage of prime rib.
I heard that. But no, I mean, the whole thing is, when you're doing investigations, I mean, you just can't have one theory. You got to have different theories.
That's right. That's true, Fred.
I mean, and I believe that, we're looking at it. I mean, it's like, okay, I believe that there's Bigfoot out there that is flesh and bones. But I also believe that there may be some that isn't. I mean, until it's proven one way or another, you got to look at everything there is out there. And if we don't, then we're stuck.
Fred,
I mean,
what is the evidence that Bigfoot is not flesh and blood?
Again, he vanishes. He's been shot. How many times has Bigfoot been shot and he just looks at you like something's wrong with you? Or else he goes up in a puff of smoke? Now, you're going to really like that. I know something's coming back on this, and my psychic's picking that up.
No, Fred. All right, so what setting are you referring to where Bigfoot got shot and then looked at you like
Okay, did you ever hear the case in Uniontown, Pennsylvania?
Tell me about that sighting.
Okay, back in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, good old Vietnam. back in the 70s, there was two guys was coming home. And they seen an object, and the object went down. They went and got a gun. They went down there, okay, over in the field. So they got there, and there was a UFO there, okay, unidentified flying object. And they seen two Bigfoot walking across the fence line, all right. State police was involved in this too, okay. The guy aimed a 30-06 at the Bigfoot and shot it 2 times. And Bigfoot just looked at him, gave out a squeal, and just looked at him like nothing even happened. The UFO vanished. This is on record. It's even in a psychiatric book. All right?
There's a shocker.
Huh?
There's a shocker.
Well, of course, you would think he's nuts if I'm telling you that. So what's so shocking about it? I mean, you're sitting there probably saying I'm nuts for saying it. So anyhow, I mean, let me get back to it. Then there's another case down there where a woman shot one and it went poof. Then I talked to... It just went up like a white smoke. It wasn't even there, okay? Then I just talked to somebody up in Butler County who's been doing investigations on Bigfoot and everything else up there for the last 20 years. He was telling me about a case where the guy came to the front door, seen a Bigfoot there. He heard noise out. He got a shotgun, opened the door, shot him with a shotgun. Bigfoot just stood there. He dropped the gun and ran out the house. When he came out the back door, when he came back, there was no blood or nothing there. How is it that you don't have, I mean, how many times is there blood from a Bigfoot?
All right, Fred, let me tell you a story.
Tell me.
Do you remember the bombing in Boston on Marathon Day? Do you remember that tragedy?
Yeah, I remember,
These two yahoos made these homemade bombs, and, they killed several people, wounded like hundreds of others, right? So then, like 5 days later, they start killing again. They're chased by police. Police shot at these guys over 200 times, right?
Mm.
And can you believe that, how many times did they hit these guys? Let me put it this way. Let me say this about that.
Yeah. This is another subject altogether. I'd rather not even discuss this because I don't believe a lot of the stuff that happened up there. All right?
Up where?
In Boston. I ain't going to get into it, though. We're talking about Sasquatch.
Fred, are you disputing the events that happened on...
I'm not discussing that. We're talking about Sasquatch. We can do this on another day.
Oh, my... All right. All right, go.
But you're going to tell me now, Bruce, that somebody point blank shoots an animal with a shotgun, and it don't even bleed? I mean, it stands there and looks at you?
Fred,
so
I'm just telling you that trained police officers shot over 200 rounds at these guys, and can you believe that they didn't both die instantly? One of them died because his brother ran him over with an SUV, but the other guy is still alive after 200 rounds were shot at him.
Only thing I can say with that, Bruce, they better all go back to the police academy to learn how to shoot a gun. Okay?
Well, my point is, Fred, that if trained police officers who are trained to use their firearms and have expended over 200 rounds shooting at these guys can't bring two guys down, why is it hard to imagine that a creature who you shot at once that you couldn't bring it down because you might have missed it, because you were nervous, or maybe
you would have missed an animal when you got the gun right to his head or whatever.
Fred,
Bruce, this is ridiculous. The thing's hit. The thing is hit.
Everyone likes to believe that they're a marksman, but the fact of the matter is, Fred, not everyone is.
Bruce, it's not that you believe you're a marksman. It happened. The man, how can, if you got a gun, and I'm standing there 1 foot in front of you, and you pull the trigger, and I don't fall, I'm not a good shot? I missed you? Come on.
All right, Fred.
How many guns have you shot?
Fred, are you kidding me?
How many guns have you shot? How many guns have you went out?
A lot, Fred.
What kind of guns do you have?
All right. Well, first of all, I grew up. I'm not going to go over all the weapons that I have, but I grew up in upstate New York, out in the country, and so I shot all sorts of shotguns and rifles and pistols growing up and living out in the country. Okay, so I didn't grow up in Boston. I grew up out in the country, so I know. You can ask Billy. I know firearms. Okay, I also know that people think that they're a lot better shot than they are, and now, here's the fact. You can look this up. There's a case of this one guy who was so distraught and depressed he was going to shoot himself, and his friend was trying to convince him otherwise, and the guy ended up missing. He was going to shoot himself. He missed and shot his friend and killed his friend, and then he became even more depressed. So tell me how a guy who has a gun pointed at his own head can miss. It happens, Fred.
Okay, well,
you believe what you want to believe, and I'm going to believe what I want to believe. I'm telling you that the man said he shot it. I'm telling you that the Bigfoot down there along the fence line, the Bigfoot was shot. He gave out a scream. He looked at him. The Bigfoot up in Westmoreland County that was shot, he gave out a scream, and he looked at him. Why in the hell would Bigfoot give out a scream if he wasn't shot? Does he do that all the time?
I never said he wasn't shot. My point is, that
you just said he wasn't shot. He's a bad shot. How do you know you shot him? That's what you just said.
Fred, my point is that there are many reasons for aiming a gun at a creature and the creature walking away. One is you missed, right? A lot of people, I shot him, but you could have missed. Another reason is maybe the caliber of rifle that you're using or weapon, caliber of the bullet was too small for the animal. My dad's friend used to go boar hunting, right? He always had a 44 Magnum. He would have to shoot that boar multiple times with a 44 Magnum just to bring it down. And those are mean animals, right? Now, a lot of people who go boar hunting, and that's a 600-pound animal, right? A lot of people who go boar hunting will actually go with a larger caliber weapon, like a 454 or a 500. And that's not uncommon,
Answer me this, Bruce. Why has never one been shot and killed, to our knowledge? I mean, I'm sure people have different rifles out there. I mean, I'm sure people, Why haven't we found any bones or anything of any dead ones that they shot? So what you're saying is people go, and let's look at this. How many people have you talked to that said they had their gun aimed at Bigfoot and something told them don't shoot? Okay? Is that in their mind? Or maybe he was using telepathy. You know, when you're talking aliens and you're talking interdimensional, I mean, that should give you a little laugh right there.
Maybe it could be their conscience telling them not to shoot. You know?
Okay, but what I'm saying is, Bruce, we have to look at everything. We just can't say, well, it was his conscience. Well, it was this or that. You got to look at everything.
I am just offering another explanation. You know,
I'm listening to you.
I was playing blackjack once, and someone told me not to double down on the 8. Okay, that wasn't Bigfoot. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Well, you know, I don't know. Was Bigfoot around? I mean, you know.
All right, here we go.
See, maybe he was outside your door looking in a window. I mean, you know, you never know.
All right, Bruce.
He gets around. You know, he can become invisible and sit in a room with you. You know.
But
right.
you're really stepped on way over the line now.
Why?
All right. Donna.
I think you're way over the line.
Donna wants to hear about your research, Fred.
I'm trying to tell him about my research. You know. I'm trying to tell him, but he's looking at me like I'm half crazy. I can feel him looking at me.
Donna says that Bruce is arguing, and she wants to hear about Fred's research.
What does she want to hear?
She just wants to hear what you're working on.
For the record, Billy, I was not arguing. I was offering an explanation for the things that Fred is saying. So, you know, he's drawing conclusions. I'm offering alternative theories, hypotheses.
But let me say one thing real quick.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce, there's a lot of people inside the Bigfoot Sasquatch investigation teams that actually believe what I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not saying it's true. I
agree with you, Fred. There are a lot of people who believe that. What I'm telling you is that I haven't seen any evidence to support that hypothesis. You know, you're just making a hypothesis that they're warping into another dimension. All right, that's great. It could be right. It could be wrong. I'm just saying I haven't seen the evidence for that.
Well, like I say, when you really start getting into it, and you know, you're looking at you know, him vanishing in the air, reporting that the witnesses can see through him as if he wasn't there. You know, a lot of times you're going out to investigate Bigfoot, and you see lights in the sky. You see orbs all over the place. I don't know why they come, because, you know, maybe creatures have ways of doing that. I don't know. But, I mean, when you look at a lot of things, and then a lot of people see Bigfoot either in or around a UFO, tell Donna to hold on a minute. You take back in the day when the Native Americans, okay, they say that the moon used to come down and drop Bigfoot off, and they used to wave at the people in the moon, okay? Then they talk about another one where the Indians, where they said that the Bigfoot came down, or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call him, came down to help them out. He was dying. He told them to put him on a boat and put him out in the water, and then the moon came down and picked him up. Now, are they all crazy? I mean, there's a lot of things, if you look at it from a point like that, you can read it, okay? But I don't think you ever read anything like that. You read Bigfoot is flesh and blood.
Well,
Fred, that's what you want.
No, Fred, listen. We live in this physical world, okay? Mm-hmm. We interact with things in a physical manner. So, like when you eat, it's physical food. It's not, you know, interdimensional or imaginary. It's physical. I believe that if there is a Bigfoot out there, that we can interact with it on a physical level, just the way we interact with animals when we're hunting, or raising animals on a farm, right?
But Bruce, Bruce, is it possible that when he comes to this dimension, he is an animal?
Yeah, but Fred, how is he coming to this dimension?
He's an animal.
Huh? What's he do? Is he tugging his ring finger 3 times and he warps into this dimension? I don't understand. Why?
He comes through a portal. He comes through a portal.
All right.
You know, there's a thing where. Do you believe in Dogman?
Well, I know that there have been a lot of Dogman sightings.
Okay. Dogman, one time, a man was riding down the road. He's seen like what the hell you call it, a mirage or whatever, all right, on the road, all right? He's seen a dog man walk out of that, look around, turn around, walk back in, and vanish. Well, what happened there? I mean, the guy maybe had too much to drink that night. But when you talk to people, yeah, it's very, well, again, you're looking at it. You're, like I said, you have to look at all sides of it. But it's possible. I mean, it's very possible that this is what's happening.
Fred, again, the evidence for what you are hypothesizing is scant. I'm saying, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that there's no evidence of that. You're observing an animal that's there and not there and drawing a conclusion.
Let's put it this way. The evidence that I'm saying is circumstantial right now, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that died on an electric chair with circumstantial evidence, right? So because it's circumstantial does not mean that it isn't there. I think you have to look at it and look at it. And like I say, one day I may turn around and say, oh, my God, I must have been the stupidest person in the world. But then again, I might look around and have 2 beers and say, well, I guess I had it right all the time. Like I always say, Bruce, when I die, I can see it now. When I die, I'm going to go up wherever I'm going. I don't know if I'm going up or down or in between. But anyhow, they're going to put me in a room. They're going to say, you got to wait there for a couple minutes. And while I'm sitting there, Bigfoot's going to walk in, the eastern Bigfoot. Then the western Sasquatch is going to walk in. Dogman's going to walk in. Mothman's going to walk in, and a whole bunch of them. There's going to be about 50 of them come in, right? And I'm going to sit there like, holy hell, what's going on? They're going to look at me and say, Fred, you was this close.
Fred,
I hope I'm not, but
if I were you, I wouldn't wait on those beers. I would probably pop open those cans and drink them soon. Because you're going to be waiting a long time.
You never know, Bruce. I may have a Bigfoot in here with me right now listening to you.
Billy, we have any questions in the chat room?
No, the only thing we got is people want you to be quiet. They said
you're going to press his ego now, man. Come on.
They want you to stop arguing with Fred and let Fred talk about his research.
All right, Fred, talk about your research.
On what, UFOs or Bigfoot?
I don't know.
I've been out doing research. I've been doing research on Bigfoot, like I say, since the 70s.
Okay.
I've never seen one. I've seen a lot of tracks. I've interviewed a lot of people. And I've done a lot of research by reading and this and that. I mean, I'm out in the woods quite a bit. And that's all I can say. I mean, I don't know what other kind of research one would want me to do. I mean,
Yeah.
Now, Flycatch wanted me to ask you, Fred, have you ever been? His name's Flycatch in the chat room. Okay. He wants to know if you have ever followed tracks that just disappear.
No, I never did.
Okay.
But I know some people that have.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Huh? You've heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard of that.
It happens quite a bit. I mean, and what is the reasoning behind it? I have no idea. I mean,
well, I followed tracks that disappeared quite a bit when I was deer hunting. You just lose the trails.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, on a football field.
I didn't think the deer were warping into another dimension.
Yeah, well, on a football field, I mean, you can lose sight of a deer real cool. I mean, he runs around to the 2nd yard line instead of the 1st.
Now,
back at the ranch.
Yeah, Donna wants me to ask you, what do you think crash landed at Kecksburg?
Oh, God.
I can tell that's going to be fun.
I don't really know. I mean, it was some kind of object, I can tell you that. Again, was it extraterrestrial? Was it, from outer space? I really have no idea. Was it from the whole thing is there was a bunch of people there from NASA. I mean, they were following this thing. Whatever it was, they followed it to where it came down at. I can't, I mean, I wasn't there again. I'd just be making a wild assumption here. But something did crash that day. It could have been extraterrestrial or it could have been terrestrial. I don't really know.
Yeah, I know most of the TV shows say that it was shaped like a bell.
Right. And the bell actually was made in Germany as a time machine.
Yep.
And from what I understand, the guy that actually developed it, he came over here with Project Paperclip, and he was down at, Cape Canaveral at the time that happened. So I don't really know. I mean, I won't make a statement on that one way or another.
Right.
She should ask Stan Gordon. He could tell her.
Yeah, I know he's checked into that a lot. Now, we got another fella in the chat room named Digger Dog. He wants to know, how many sightings have you investigated? Do you know?
What, Bigfoot?
Bigfoot sightings.
Back in the day, I haven't really been that many lately due to working and this and that. But I say back in the 70s and 80s, quite a bit. I mean, I never counted them, but it was quite a bit. I mean, like I say, I've seen a lot of prints. I've seen a lot of footprints. I've seen a lot of, other stuff. I've interviewed a lot of people. And, I mean, I don't really go out that much anymore because of my health. But, I try to get out as much as I can.
And Boothie wants to know, what is your favorite Bigfoot story of all the years you've been researching?
I don't really have one.
I don't really have one either. Well, I've always liked the story from down in Texas. I think Bruce probably knows which one I'm talking about. Where, as a matter of fact, I think Dave drew some artwork of it. The one that supposedly Bigfoot came up and took the pig, threw it over its shoulders, and carried it off right in front of the hunter. That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Wow.
So, I will admit, Fred, on one item that you said, and that is we don't know what we're dealing with. I will agree with that. We don't know if Bigfoot is flesh and blood. We don't know if Bigfoot is some other type of whatever. So I do understand the whole need for keeping an open mind. There are a lot of, I guess we could call it, quote unquote, paranormal features that is talked about in a lot of Bigfoot sightings and encounters. I mean, even in my case, back in 2005, I had something strange happen to me when two of my boys had a sighting. And, I can't explain that because it's something I've never experienced before or after.
I'll tell you, let me interject there for a second.
Okay.
Like I said, I've done maybe 1,000 big UFO reports, all right? And a lot of times, it's interesting. I normally ask the people I investigate the UFO report if they've ever seen a Bigfoot or any other kind of animal. And I would say 3 to 4 out of 10 will say yeah. So, yeah. I mean, what are we dealing with? And again, I don't know. But like I say, there's something out there. And, I mean, we have to look at it. I mean, like I say, okay, I'm going to be running the Mountain State Sasquatch Watch. I'm going to run it as a flesh and blood animal. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, thank God for small favors, Fred.
Huh? What'd you say?
Thank God for small favors.
Oh, that's all right, Bruce. Don't worry about it. I'll come to the next camp out you have, too, and we'll talk about it. But Bruce is the only man I know got a two-story tent. But anyhow.
I know. Why does everyone have to pick on my tent? It wasn't 2 stories.
Because, it's a 2-story tent. I've never seen one of them before. I think only in Boston they have them.
Fred, you are unbelievable, Fred.
They don't sell them down here in our neck of the woods in West Virginia. We're lucky we got tents down here. They give us blankets and tell them to put them over a clothesline, But no, like I say, I'll be investigated as a flesh and blood animal. But if there's some type of paranormal or whatever to it, you got to look at that too.
Well, Fred, you have to document it. If someone tells you that they experience something or see something, obviously you have to document it.
And I'll tell you another thing too, Bruce. Why I think there's a lot of problems with Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and UFOs. We don't really know how many reports there are out there.
Right.
Okay? So maybe we're missing a lot of stuff here. You know, it's like we was talking to Kecksburg. I was talking to Stan Gordon. And I was saying about, you know, like UFOs. We should have like NCIC, National Crime Information Center. Every UFO report that's called in should go to a specific database, okay? Investigated. The same with Bigfoot and Sasquatch. I mean, like, how many people out there investigating Sasquatch now? Thousands of them. Do we really know what's going on out there? No. I mean, you could find one today, and somebody probably investigated in the past. If we had all these reports, we'd know what to look for right away. See what I'm saying? But we don't.
No, I agree, Billy. I agree that you have to record the observation. And the observation is you saw something there 1 minute, and then the next minute it vanished. That's the observation. But to, you know, conclude that they were warping into another dimension, I just think there isn't any evidence for that.
Let me say one other thing, Bruce, real quick. And Billy was there. Okay, when you had the last preacher weekend, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, did you listen to any of the speakers?
Yes, I did, Fred.
You sure you did?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just wondering because, you know, I might have heard some different stuff that you did. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, but I'm just wondering. I just asked.
Yeah, are you talking about Ron Moorhead?
No, I ain't talking about
All
Ron
right.
Moorhead.
All right. He's not singling anybody out.
I'm not. I mean, you know, you had how many speakers? 5?
We had a few, but Fred,
you should have listened to about 3 or 4 of them, you know.
Fred, there's a lot of ideas floating around out there. I'm just telling you that, you know, it's one thing to make an observation. It's another to draw a conclusion from that observation, which I think a lot of people do. There's no evidence for it. That's what I'm saying. But
there's no evidence of him being flesh and blood.
Well, except for hair, DNA, scat, tracks. Other than that,
you got ghost. Okay, look at a ghost. I mean, ghosts can leave tracks. Ghosts can leave this and that. So, I mean, is there evidence for that? What is a ghost? Is he an animal or is that interdimensional? When you're dead, I mean, you're dead.
Fred, I can't speak to whether ghosts leave tracks or not, and that's probably a topic for another show. But I'm just saying that there's a fair amount of evidence that Bigfoot is a flesh and blood creature.
Hey,
in your mind.
Hey, Fred.
In my mind, Dr. Meldrum has drawers full of track casts he's made of impressions.
Okay, now you're going to bring up Meldrum, okay, because he's a college professor. I talked to a college professor that teaches chemistry at a major college, and he's telling me that he thinks Bigfoot's interdimensional. So, I mean, here we go. We got one college professor saying this. We got another college professor saying that. So who do you believe? Who do you believe?
Fred. I'm not. Fred. I'm just.
Bruce. What?
You're drawing conclusions based on scant evidence. Now, I always say the question that you asked me was, what evidence do we have that these are flesh and blood?
Yeah.
My response was that we have plenty of track casts, which, one would think, suggest that these are flesh and blood because they would have to have been physical to make these impressions, right?
Okay, Bruce, again, if the thing is interdimensional, okay, when he comes into this dimension, okay, he becomes physical, okay? So he could be making tracks and still be interdimensional.
Fred, what I'm saying is you're totally pulling that out of. Well, I'll be kind and say your hat, but
I got a hat on. So, it says I live in Weirton, West Virginia.
We don't know that these creatures, warp in interdimensionally. That's just a hypothesis that you have.
And you have a hypothesis that it's a flesh and blood animal.
Well, only because
we have 2 hypotheses here that we got to work on and try to remedy. We don't know what he really is. I mean, come on, Bruce.
You have to admit, Bruce, he's got a point. He's got a different theory.
What point? What point does he have? Tell me, please. What's the point?
Because we don't have any proof it's flesh flesh and blood any more than he's got proof that it's interdimensional or alien.
Well, Billy, we live in a flesh and blood world that's dictated by laws of physics.
I understand that, but you've also been involved in a ghost investigation where you had something happen to you that you couldn't explain.
That's correct, but I'm not willing to say it was an interdimensional being that caused it.
I understand, but I heard Fred. I heard you make a comment a while ago when you said the dead are dead.
Mm-hmm.
What did you mean by that when you said that?
The dead, they're dead because I believe that I believe there's two things. I believe when you die, if you're religious, I believe you got a soul in a not so you get my mind going here. There's soul and whatever. When you die, what runs your body? Electric, right? Electrical impulses.
Right. Energy, correct.
Right? Yeah. So anyhow, energy never dies, does it? Energy just changes form. Okay? So therefore, a soul in a what the hell's the other word I'm trying to think of here? I can't think. Bruce got my mind all conglomerate.
Oh, that was my fault too, Fred. Thanks.
Yeah, it was. No, Bruce. But anyhow, so, you're dead. When you're dead, you're dead. But this energy can come back. You see what I'm saying? The energy never dies from you when you die, all right? Because it's still there. Energy never dies. So why is it that all the time most people have a sighting on a foggy night, okay, full moon, because that's high interference there. I mean, that's when it comes. And again, if you're looking at it, who's to say that ghosts aren't interdimensional? You got UFOs. Well, you got UFOs, Bigfoot, and UFOs, Bigfoot, and ghosts. Not one of the three can you see until they want you to see them. If a ghost wants you to see him, you're going to see him. If not, you're not going to see him.
Well,
if
Fred,
Bigfoot wants you to,
you're putting ghosts and Bigfoot in the same category.
No,
I think you're probably overplaying your hand. I think.
No. I'm saying if they're interdimensional. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what ghosts are. Honestly, I don't know what they are.
And how are you saying I'm overplaying my hand if you don't know what they are? They might be brothers to Bigfoot. They may be Bigfoot's brother. But I'm overplaying my hand because I said that. See, you don't want to look at anything. You want to look at the flesh and blood, and that's it. You this is in your mind.
No, it's not in my mind, Fred. I use the principle of Occam's razor to explain things, and simply stated, a lot of times the simplest explanation is usually the correct one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I tell you what, a lot of times the simplest explanation ain't the best one.
Well,
so you're saying because it's a simple explanation, then we should just go with it?
Sure.
Oh well, Bigfoot's flesh and blood.
In the absence of evidence to the contrary, I'm saying that you go with the most probable explanation. So, you keep saying, well, we don't know Bigfoot's flesh and blood. Well,
But what's probable for you isn't probable for me. And maybe it isn't probable for thousands of other people. So here we go again. We're looking at probable for you and probable for me. So we got different views.
I'm just saying probable in the eyes of science.
Mm.
So that's the framework that I'm coming from.
Go ahead, Billy.
Since we've been talking about this, I have a question for Fred. Fred, what do you think about folks who post pictures or videos up on the internet and say that they see a figure in that photo, even to the point of circling it with a red circle and saying, see it, and we don't see it? What do you think about people that put those photos up saying that they have proof of something, but you can't see it?
Well, again, Billy, maybe you and I can't see it, but maybe they can. I got a case. I got a UFO case. All right, let me explain this to you now. Okay, I got a person. Again, I'm not going to say where or whatever. The person sees UFOs every night. Okay, I debunked them twice. All right, I debunked them twice. I said no. You're not seeing UFOs. But this person really believes that. Okay, so if this person believes that they're seeing UFOs, who am I to tell them they're not to? You understand what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, and that was
and I think a lot of people. I know one guy. You know, I know a couple guys that they want to see a Bigfoot so bad that maybe some of the things that they're saying they shouldn't be saying or seeing. You understand? See, me, in order for me to say, yeah, there's a Bigfoot there, and it's like I tell Dave and all them guys, I believe in court, okay? If I can take that track to court and win it, that's a Bigfoot track. If I can't, I don't believe it's a track. You see what I'm saying? It might be a partial track or something, but I would not take that to court.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the points I brought up on a Facebook page where people were arguing back and forth with a guy who said that he had a photo and that there was a Bigfoot standing at the right side of the tree, and people were going back and forth arguing with the guy. And I told him, I said, you know, what good is this doing? If he thinks he sees something in that photo, then he thinks he sees something in that photo. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do. You're not going to change his mind.
How many people say Bigfoot has thrown rocks at him? How many people have actually seen Bigfoot throw the rock at him?
That I haven't seen, but I have had the rocks.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Somebody's throwing rocks at you.
Yeah, believe me, I wish I had some rocks right now, Fred.
Well, you can't throw that for me.
No, it's a long way from Boston, West Virginia.
You'd have to put it on a UFO and drop it off. I mean, come on.
But no, it's definitely an interesting conversation, and I'm certainly open to have the conversation. I know, and I understand where Bruce is coming from too, because, well, even from my standpoint, the kind of work I do is environmental science. So obviously, I'm always trying to find the science in it. Right. So I understand that, and I'm probably just as bad as Bruce. I just don't speak my mind as much as Bruce. But
no, you know, but like I say, I believe, and I really do, that there are flesh and blood Bigfoots, or Bigfoots. How you say that? Can't say big feet, Bigfoots, Bigfoot, whatever. But I also feel that there may be something else out there. I mean, if you look at the East Coast Bigfoot compared to the West Coast Bigfoot, there's a total difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Fred,
skinnier, they look like us. Okay. Over there, they got the flat, whatever. So maybe this one over here, every Bigfoot looks different. I mean, it's like some got 3 toes, 4 toes, 5 toes, and 6 toes. I mean, they're different. So you can't judge every one of them by what they are. I mean, they're different. They're different things.
Fred, here's the thing.
Yeah, Bruce.
I think people are entitled to believe what they want to believe. But if belief was enough, why are even people going out in the woods looking for evidence? Why can't we just say, okay, well, if you believe, then it is real? The reason is because, believing is not enough. You need evidence to support your claims. So people go out.
That's what we're doing right now. We're all going out in the woods trying to do that.
Well, if you can't collect evidence, you can't support your claim, right? That Bigfoot is blank. I don't care. Fill in the blanks. But you need to have evidence, and all I'm saying is
let me say one thing here, Bruce, real quick.
Yeah.
How many casts have been made of Bigfoot prints? How many samples of hair have been taken, allegedly of Bigfoot? You still don't have the evidence. They still don't say it's a flesh and blood. So how many prints are you going to have to get before they say that?
But Fred, wouldn't you agree that the presence of hair samples or DNA or a track that was cast from an impression allegedly left by Bigfoot would prove more consistent toward it being a flesh and blood creature?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree.
All right, so,
But then again, he may be interdimensional coming over and being a dimensional creature. You don't know.
Again, there's no evidence to support that this creature is interdimensional.
There is no evidence to support he's not. You show me the evidence that shows that he's not.
hold on. I got to jump in here, Bruce. It depends on which study you follow.
Right.
Keep in mind that Melba Ketchum is claiming that the male side, I believe I'm saying this correct, the male side, this gene or whatever, is something not of this world, supposedly.
Well, yeah. So it's the only thing we can say, Billy. She doesn't actually say that it's not of this world, which she's saying it's not human.
Right, she's saying it's not human, but she's sort of, in a way, I think you and I have had these discussions, okay? And I'm not going to get biblical here because we're not doing a biblical show.
I tell you what, I heard that argument about 2 weeks ago.
I think she believes that it's an angelic, that the male side could be angelic.
Billy, she's never. I don't think she's ever said that publicly, but all she said is that the male portion of that gene is not human, and there is some human DNA on the female side. I don't believe she's ever said anything about it being angelic or extraterrestrial.
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Well, I believe, we can get into that whole Nephilim theory too, but again, Nephilim were supposedly a generation of angels coming down and having relations with female human beings. So, a little different story there, but.
See, I heard this when we had the creature, when we was at the last camp out, Bruce, and I went down to that place down there. There was a minister that came down there, and he started talking to these people about that. And I sat there and listened to him for about a half hour. It made a lot of sense, but then again, it's what you believe. I mean, I didn't see no really evidence again, but then again, I mean, this is what this guy believes. So, I mean, who am I to tell him that it ain't true, All
right, well, hold on a minute, guys. We only got a couple minutes, so I just now noticed that I got a caller holding in here. Caller from the 724 area code. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, guys? This is Brian.
Good.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, I just wanted to see when I can be on Bruce's new show. Bruce Harrington Questions Everything.
Hey,
if Joe can have one, so can you, Bruce.
Yeah, he's trying to take his job.
Hey, Brian, I'll come on with you.
Hey, just the one thing I wanted to say real quick is, here in Pennsylvania, we have a couple long-standing researchers, Paul Johnson and Stan Gordon, and you have other long-standing researchers like Rosemary Ellen Guiley, Nick Redfern. None of them are going to say that this creature is definitely a real flesh and blood animal. And these are people that have been researching 30, 40 years, a lot longer than most of us. So if they're putting some stock at least into it, there may be. I said there may be a possibility. Now I know, like when our group researches, we're out like you, Billy. We want the proof. We want the hair samples. We want the proof. But there's a lot of questions. After over 50, 60 some years, all the sightings, not one's been hit by a car, not one's been shot. You don't have a body yet. I mean, when will it eventually come? Another 20 years if we don't have proof? Then we might have to say, hey, I don't think any flesh and blood animal, even the mountain gorilla, took about 50 years to finally get it. But eventually it might come to a point where, hey, it may not be flesh and blood, like we believe it is. Now, you talked about, Bruce, you talked about physics. Well, Paul Johnson talks about quantum physics, which, Einstein said was spooky action at a distance. When this creature is here, it very well could be flesh and blood, and it seems to be. But where does it go? Why isn't it seen more often? There is a lot of inconsistencies, guys. You guys have to know that.
Brian, I believe that there are a lot of things that we do not know about these creatures. That is true. What I do not subscribe to is that filling in, the missing pieces by just saying, it's warping in and out of this dimension. That's because that's why we can't find it or photograph it or capture it. I just don't subscribe to that theory. Also, there's an old saying that says that, just because there isn't evidence for something doesn't disprove something.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of evidence is not, does not prove that something doesn't exist. So, just keep that in mind.
Oh, I agree, but there will have to come a time, I believe, after all the people out looking for it and after all the photos and I think eventually there's going to have to come a time when they're saying there's a lot more to this, than what we think. Eventually, will we get one? And believe me, hey, I wholeheartedly, guys, I want to believe this is flesh and blood. I don't even want to think this thing may be a quantum animal, whatever your definition of it is. Because if it is, we will never get the proof.
Look how long we've been saying that there've been, that giant squid live in our oceans, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as man has been going to sea, they've been talking about giant squid. We only got live video of a giant squid. What, in 2007?
Yeah. And I realize that. But I'm just saying, in the future, if you would look forward into the future, I don't know how many years, but I'm just saying that, keep it in the back of your mind. That, and believe me, and I research it. We research it like a flesh and blood. We're out looking for tracks just like everybody else. And I still want to think it is more than that. That it is a flesh and blood animal. But I have some doubts, guys.
I agree with Brian.
And like Fred always says, why can't we? No one has to believe anyone else's theory or whatever. But I definitely think once people start tearing apart the other person's theory and like cutting them down and saying they're crazy, that's what bothers me,
Brian, you're nuts.
And I'm not saying you're doing that, Bruce, but there are people out there.
Right. For the record, Brian and Fred, I'm not cutting anyone down, all right?
Oh, no, you're not.
No, I'm not saying you, Bruce. I'm not saying you.
This has been an interesting conversation. I hope we do it again sometime.
I hope not.
The funny thing is I'm hoping that the people that listen to the show on a regular basis understand that me, Brian, Fred, Bruce, we're all friends. I know I've known you now, Fred, for what, at least 2 or 3 years, I think, back when we first met.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. And we sit here and, I think everybody thought that we were arguing, like we were, fighting, but we're not.
No.
We're having a conversation, and it's all in fun. We're all still going to like each other just like we did before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I didn't want nobody to get that wrong idea.
I'm going to give Bruce about 2 months to gather up his information, go study a little bit, then we can go at it again,
Because, hey, Bruce.
I'll finish with one thing. I'll finish with one thing, like Bobby Kennedy once said. Many men see things they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not. Remember that.
Yep.
Hey, Bruce.
Oh, thanks, Fred. If we need a platitude, we'll turn to you.
Huh?
Hey, Bruce. The one thing I would like to say in Fred's defense. I know because I have been involved in the UFO, research also and the reading and stuff like that. In the 70s and even in the 60s. Bigfoot was part of UFO, a lot of the UFO cases. Just the thing is, a lot of the Bigfoot researchers now, they've never looked into those cases, or they don't even
listed as an alien, an extraterrestrial.
Yeah, especially in the 70s, there was a lot of magazine articles. I have a bunch downstairs, and Fred's seen them, and he's made articles that links UFOs with Bigfoot. I'm not saying that there's a link, but there are there's a little bit more cases that both are seen in the same area at the same time than what your average Bigfoot researcher thinks. You can just talk to Stan Gordon. And again, I'm not saying that there's a link, but there are.
Yeah.
But there are more sightings than what you think of that, Bruce.
Yeah, but Brian, I wouldn't be surprised if Fred wrote most of those articles in the 70s.
I'm writing a book on paranormal sex right now. I've been studying incubuses and succubuses. I think maybe Bigfoot's one of them too.
Oh my God! All right. So this has been an interesting conversation, and so I hope to see you, at another Creature Weekend event, Fred.
I'll be there. The bell's on, man.
I don't know.
Anytime you have something, let me know. I'm there.
You will see Bruce at Mothman, Fred. You will see Bruce at Mothman. He's gonna wear his Mothman.
You'll be at a Mothman?
I don't know. Boss Man might be in another dimension during that weekend.
He is from another dimension, yeah. I talked to a lady a couple nights ago to seen one down here in West Virginia. We had all kinds of shit down here in West Virginia. I mean, I think this is virgin territory down here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, good night, guys. I'm going to let you go.
I might get a cherry down here, you know?
Fred, at the beginning of the show, I said you were from the Pittsburgh area, but you're actually from West Virginia, right?
No, I'm actually from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. I lived down here for about 3 or 4 years now.
And then you were, what, out, and you had to find another town to live in?
I moved to Florida for 20 years. I lived in Daytona for 20, and then I moved back up to Pittsburgh, and then I moved here.
Oh, okay.
Remember that song, Round, Round, Get Around, I Get Around?
Yeah.
I'm watching H2 right now. This guy's biting this kid. I think he's a vampire.
Well, hey, good night, guys. I'm going to let you guys go.
All right, Brian.
Thanks for calling in, Brian.
All right, talk to you tomorrow, Fred.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, man. Gentlemen, it's been fun, and I'll talk to you guys again.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for being a guest on our show.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night. Well, that was an interesting show.
That was definitely. Well, I knew, it was my idea to get Fred on the show, and I knew it was going to be interesting, and I knew it was going to end up, like it did.
No, I think, I think a few people, I think misunderstood. I think Donna got pretty upset. Not trying to put her on the spot, but I tried to explain to her that you and I and Fred, I mean, we've known each other for a few years.
For a long time. Yeah.
We know we're just we can do that and have fun with it and like it never happened.
Right.
But I just didn't want nobody to get the idea that we were actually arguing and fighting with Fred, because that's not what we were doing.
Right. No, I like Fred. He's a funny guy to hang out with, and he's been an attendee to all the Creature Weekend events.
Yep.
And I always look forward to talking to him. And this conversation, believe it or not, is not the first time we had this conversation with Fred. And every time we get around that campfire, or every time we get together, the conversation always revolves around whether Bigfoot's flesh and blood. And we definitely have different opinions on that, but that doesn't mean I like Fred any less for having a different opinion.
Right. Exactly. So, well, it was an interesting show this week. I'm sure it can be just as much interesting next week. So everybody will have to tune in next Tuesday at 9 p.m. to see what other kind of interesting discussions we can have.
Definitely.
So thanks for helping out tonight, Bruce. And again, Fred, we thank you for being on. And we will see everyone next week, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Remember to join us again next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate every one of our listeners. Thank you so much for being here.